Hey everyone, Margarita here. I want to talk in this video today about more of like a prediction of what I think is coming if it has not already happened. Um, so I don't know how many of my videos you've previously watched. I talk about a wide variety of subjects that are all tied together, all in my actual life. And I do have spiritual gifts, which I was born with. And they became amplified after I became injured. I'm not going to go into full detail about what exactly these gifts are and how I know how things happen or the messages I receive. I'm not going to go fully into detail about any of this, but what I am going to say is um with regards to the situation with my mother, she is behind the scenes, getting very aggravated with the amount of videos I've released, what I've been talking about, how I've been speaking my truth, how I've been publicly outing all of these individuals who have been committing RICO crimes against me long term, short term, and long term, no matter what degree they're involved in, with her at the root of all of this. It is very bothersome to her. And I don't know if she's actually watching these videos or just people, like family members or people in her life are actually watching them and then feeding her the information. I'm not exactly sure which one of those is going on, but it's something along those lines. And what I do know is how she operates. I know quite a bit about how she operates, even though there's been no contact or relationship for decades. I have had her figured out from the time I was a small child, although I didn't fully understand how to deal with someone like her for a long time. It took all of those years of being forced to be in her presence to deal with someone like her and learn the tactics of someone with that many mental and personality disorders. Um, it didn't really fully sink in for me until after my injury happened, after I had some time to reflect and I was completely incapacitated laying here. That's when it all fully started, the bigger picture kind of all came together because I lived a very busy, very fast paced life from the time I turned 18 to the time I became injured, which was like almost what it was like 15, 16 years. That's a long time that I was living a very fast life where I never had time to stop and think. I was always in survival mode growing up, and then it went right into extreme chaos, and then I was building at a rapid rate, and it was almost as if I knew my life, like I subconsciously knew my life was going to get cut short. I lived an entire lifetime. By the time I became incapacitated for my injuries, I had already lived an entire lifetime, from the time I was 18 to the time I was what, like 34. I'd already packed an entire lifetime into that time frame. So I never had time to ever stop and think or reflect on anything all of these years until this all happened. But what I do know now is because of the amount of information I've been releasing, everything I've been talking about, all the different subjects, all the different crimes my mother's committed against me, what's all been going on. How she operates is her mask is going to slip and she is going to show her true colors, to the people around her, or it could be publicly. I'm not exactly sure how this is going to happen or where. If it hasn't happened yet, it may have already happened. I'm not sure, but what's going to happen is one of my videos or numerous of my videos and some of the information, it's going to cause her to react a certain way, and her mask is going to slip in front of, it's either going to be a group of people who are going to then realize everything I said is 100% true, people she's been lying to long term, people who initially trusted her for a long time, or it could be maybe people that don't know her all that well, but she's also been lying to them too, and her mask is going to slip in front of those people. So I'm not exactly sure where her mask is going to slip, how this is all going to go down, but how she operates, because her mask never slips in front of other people, and it would only come off in front of me privately with nobody else around, or maybe my kids have seen it, my older kids possibly, but they may just think that that's normal. Um, and then my dad, but it's different now because he's injured and at a care facility. But he always just thought that that was normal. So beyond us, I don't believe the mask has ever fully slipped in front of anyone else. I'm not 100% sure because, again, no contact, no relationship. But what's going to happen is her mask is going to slip. She's going to become very unhinged in a public setting or in a group setting where there's going to be more than enough people that it's going to click what a deranged lunatic she is. I don't know if it's going to be something they say to her, something they confront her about, or something that has to do with one of my videos, or just information in general that something maybe I've said in one of my videos and somebody seen the video and realized they've noticed something about her. I don't know exactly how it's going to go down, but I do know how she operates, and I do have spiritual gifts, and I am able to kind of see how things play out in advance without like fully knowing. I don't know like every detail, but I do know how she operates for sure. I'm 100% certain. So, with the messages I've been receiving, with the information I've been releasing, and how I know how she operates, kind of pieces together what I'm saying is about to happen. If it hasn't already happened, it's going to go down something along those lines where she is going to slip up in front of numerous people, and or she could be trying to attempt to take me out some more and maybe approach some people with some type of bribe or some type of offer if they're able to take me out in some way, shape, or form. And the people may already be aware of my videos, or they may, by watching the videos, they're going to see that I'm not the person that she's been describing that I am all these decades. She's been telling people this false narrative about me, who I am as a person. They're maybe they already know that's a false narrative, then that's not who I am. It could be something along those lines as well. But when the mask slips, the devil is going to jump out. Her eyes are going to be completely black. There's going to be no color to them. And a long time ago, the color used to shift in and out when the mask would slip when she was just in front of me. And oh my God, you scared me. And so the mask would slip literally with just me alone. And her eyes would go all black, and then the brown would come back when she'd come back, but when the devil's talking, they go all black. But the past several years, especially because she's been up to no good very heavily the past several years, it was even more amplified, I'd say the last 3 or 4 years. So became more amplified once I got injured in 2018, and even more amplified, I'd say 3 to 4 years ago. So prior to that, her eyes did used to change. Now they're just 100% black. They've been the past several years. I don't know how anybody else does not notice this. I had noticed this from the time I was a very small child. I did not understand the spirituality aspect of it to that degree all these years until, I don't know, pretty much until my injury, I guess. But you can tell that there's a problem. So it's beyond me why nobody else has ever noticed any of this, especially with her having all these church friends and portraying herself to be this great Catholic and this great person, and it's all fake and no one's realizing. And I am 100% sure she's been dibbling and dabbling with witchcraft, or she's going to a practitioner who does it professionally. And there has been death magic done on me. There has been many different forms of magic done on me. And she is also into some type of brainwashing, neurolinguistic programming, or mind control of some sort. I do know she's dibbling and dabbling with that, which also kind of ties in with the dark arts and the black magic and whatnot to some degree. That they are intertwined. I have had to dig into this subject as well. Again, I had 3 years where I was completely laid out, laying here doing nothing but reading on different subjects, and I was being forced to because of what was going on in my waking life. And if I had not had all that life experience prior to that happening, the amount of life experience in the fact that I had pretty much lived an entire lifetime already by the time that had happened, I wouldn't have been able to come to the conclusions that I came to. I had so much life experience under my belt that when I was reading things, I knew what's truth versus fiction. Because a lot of what you're reading online, it's not all real, or it's just opinions, or it's this or it's that. Well, my life experience is what backs up what I know to be true. So there's a lot of people who Google things and they just think that whatever they see on the internet is oh, that's what it is because Google said so. Not even like digging into numerous different things to read or different areas. They just kind of Google jump right to it, believe it. Well, it's all controlled. That's not all real. But because of my life experience, I was always able to distinguish what I was reading, if it was legit or not, because there is a lot of things that are not. But again, it boils down to my amount of life experience. So I have had to read up on all of these subjects. I've read quite a few books on all these subjects. This is all pertaining to my mother's criminal activities, what she has been up to, her malicious activities, her odd behavior all these years, all these decades. There's another issue because there's quite a bit of missing time when it comes to her. No, get down. There's quite a bit of missing time. And because she never had custody of my kids. I've been moved out since I was 18. My dad's kind of always been working a lot or in his own little world prior to his injury, kind of living his own life separately, not as socially active as her. And when you look at what's all gone on, there is quite a bit of missing time in her life. Even though there's no contact, no relationship, I am aware that she is up to no good with some groups of people who I'm pretty sure my dad does not converse with the majority of these people, or if he was ever conversing with any of them, I'm not sure. I would say the majority of them probably he doesn't even know anything about. But I do know she is missing large amounts of time. Like she doesn't have pets, she doesn't have kids or grandkids there to take care of. I've been gone for a long time. There's no other kids. My kids have all lived with me. So it doesn't add up. The amount of missing time that she's had all these last couple decades kind of point to her into some malicious dark activities as well, with this group that I know she's involved with. Even though I don't know all of the individuals in the group, I do know some of them, who some of them are. I don't know all of them. I'm sure I've never even met some of them. But there is a huge chunk of time missing that I've been piecing together for some time now, that she has a lot of missing time slots, or she did at least before my dad's injury, which I'm sure she still does currently. And it points to her involved in other malicious dark activities that are not like of the Holy Spirit. So now I'm not claiming to be a princess or anything, but I do work directly for God, and I'm well aware of that. I made a deal on the day that I died, the first time in my bed when I had the brain swelling episode. I made a deal with God to keep my physical body here, and that I would do anything to keep my physical body here because my youngest child was not even 2 yet. And I knew that he wasn't going to have a good life without me. And now looking back on it, knowing what I know, what's all gone on, he actually wouldn't have survived. So I made a deal to keep my physical body here. Part of that deal is that I have to basically do footwork for God on earth. And there's certain people I am sent their way, and I am to teach them lessons. And I just have to follow what I'm told. I don't get to choose kind of how it goes. The missions all land straight on my lap, and I'm usually waist deep in the mission before I realize I'm in the middle of another mission. And it's been happening since all of that happened to me. So I'm aware that that's what's going on with me. I've been aware of it. But with my mother, that is one of my missions. That is part of the reason for these videos, for the exposure of all the crimes, everything that's gone on top of the fact that the money she has stolen, and the reason for all these crimes is this money. It all belongs to me. And part of that ties in with the neuro-linguistic programming, the brainwashing, the mind control and such, and the witchcraft, because there was a significant period of time that I lost a whole bunch of memories and never realized I lost any memories until these memories came back after my injury. And there was a significant period of time all through my 20s, early 30s, and whatnot. I didn't even remember that this trust fund was left for me. And looking back on it when I was younger, I remember all of it. I remember it being left for me. I remember being there. I remember even saying something about it as a teenager. I don't know exactly what she caused or what she it has to do with her actions, her malicious activities. I don't know if it has to do with the witchcraft or the brainwashing or the neurolinguistic programming or what exactly it has to do with. But it caused me to lose memories. And my brain injuries, once I became overloaded with carbon monoxide, is what caused all of my memories to start coming back. So all these memories came flooding back to me to expose everything that she's been doing. And for some reason, there's just a huge um, chunk of time where I had all these missing memories. And that's why I didn't remember anything about the trust fund for quite some time. On top of the fact that I do remember just kind of walking away at one point and shrugging it off like, I don't need you. I don't need it. I'm good by myself. And when I did that, I already had a good job as a teenager and I was working on buying my first house. So I probably didn't fully understand the scope of how it all worked. Like the money doesn't just go away. And again, I don't know the number either, but seeing what I've seen in my waking life and what's going on tells me it's a pretty large number for people to be doing what they've been doing the past few years. Once my older two kids were approaching age 18, and the amount of bribery payments and what's all gone on, that tells me there has to be a significant number left of this money. And then realizing all these problems and crimes were occurring, all this harassment, because she was gaining access to the trust fund by portraying herself to have custody of and raise my older two kids. So all of that kind of came together with these missing memories. That is part of my one of my missions, is to expose her and all of the individuals who have committed the crimes with her and serve justice, because that's what I signed up to do to keep my physical body here. So it all ties together. I do have a lot of the pieces put together. It did take me some time to piece all of this together. And it took me even longer to take action from the time I did piece everything together because of how sick and injured I was. There was nothing I could have done about it. And there was a certain time period where I was just so fragile as well during all of this, that even if I could have talked and delivered the information, I wasn't physically strong enough to withstand the spiritual attacks, because I have been getting sent quite a few spiritual attacks. I am one of the 144,000 chosen ones. So chosen ones tend to experience a lot of spiritual warfare as well. I will do a separate video on witchcraft, on some of the things that have been going on. It has been pretty heavy the past couple of weeks. There's numerous reasons that I know this, so I'll talk about that in the other video that I'm about to do. And today I've done numerous videos because I have a lot of things I'm trying to take care of. And I want to have the videos for the week filmed today so I can just have them ready to go for this coming week, because I'm trying to get other things done. And at the same time, I took in quite a bit of the radiation flush from the Fukushima flushing yesterday, trying to get my other house sold. And I'm living with like radiation burn at a cellular level. So in between me filming these videos, I've done the numerous different things I do to reverse each exposure. And sometimes it takes days or weeks. But I got a significant portion of it removed just today, even though it happened last night. I did quite a few things earlier. In between, I'm filming a video in between each thing that I'm doing. So that's why I'm kind of wearing the same shirt. It's not me wearing the same shirt for like 5 days. What it is I'm filming everything today to be released for the next almost week probably, so I can get the other things addressed that I have to take care of. And the other thing I want to mention is the shirt does say day drink. I don't day drink. I've only day drank, whatever. I've only done it like a couple times ever in my life. So behind this shirt, when I went down to show my house yesterday, we stopped at a place to eat, and it was a restaurant bar, and they did have bingo. My son wanted to play the bingo. We played the bingo, and I actually won a couple times. And so I won this shirt, and I picked the shirt because it looks comfy. It is comfy. It's a really comfy cotton, and I like the color. And it is some type of vodka or something, I think, on the back of the shirt. But I used to work in restaurants and bars for a very long time. I collected all types of beer and liquor type shirts and all types of gear along the way I've had. So that's not new to me, but I'm sure people are looking at my videos or looking at the shirt and it says day drink. And plus, like the false narrative going around about me, and then what's actually on my criminal record when half of that stuff isn't even real. I will talk about that in its own video. But no, I do not day drink. I've only done so less than the amount of fingers I have on one hand ever in my life. So sue me for wearing the shirt. I don't know. Just thought I'd point that out because I realized that people are probably thinking that while they're watching my videos. Like, yeah, she's definitely an alcoholic. No, I'm not. So I just had to talk about all that for a second and explain why I'm wearing the same shirt in several videos, what I'm trying to do. Even though I'm sick and I'm injured and I have all these symptoms and these problems, people viewing the videos can't even tell that I have waves of radiation burning at a cellular level throughout my entire body and in my brain. The only thing you might notice is my face might look different colors in the different videos that I filmed today. Other than that, you're probably not going to notice that I have that big of an issue because I live sick. And there's times where it is very serious. It is very extreme. And then there's times where I'm okay-ish. But I've been living this way for so long that other people can't tell that that's my situation. So instead of doing stuff that's more strenuous, I'm trying to film all the videos today because I'm trying to get all these different things taken care of in order to get everything back in order, some type of working flow of an order. So that's kind of what's going on, and that's what's behind the shirt. Just thought I'd share that with everybody. But I do know that my mother is up to no good. Her mask is going to slip if it has not already. There are all these different things that I just mentioned in this video. She is up to all of them. I'm not sure to what degree or what exactly she's doing, but it is something along the lines of everything I've mentioned. And it all plays a role in how she thought she was going to get away with stealing my trust fund, hiding it, making sure that everybody believed I was this mental disorder drug addict and she raised my kids, and making people believe this false narrative. And she truly thought she was going to get away with this because she started this back in the 1980s and grew it over the course of time and continued to grow it. And what she didn't take into consideration was technology and how all that would change, and that social media would come out, and that people would be making money on social media, or people would be sharing their lives to the world on different social media sites, which I had never done, didn't start doing until I started filming these videos. But she did not take any of that into consideration. She did not take into consideration the person that I truly was. It didn't matter that she wanted me to be the opposite of who I am. I already had the skills that I have today, I had as a young child. That's why the person who left me the trust fund left it for me, because he could see the light that I had. He could see the brains that I had. He could see that I was different and I was going places in life. That's why I was left the trust fund. She did not see, or she didn't want to believe, she just could be in denial, didn't want to see who I truly was as a person, and didn't think that I don't know if she just thought I wasn't going to make it as far as I did when I knew all along I was, or if she thought her tactics were just going to keep taking me out so I wouldn't reach the level that I knew I was going to reach, because I know that quite a few people currently are appalled by the level that I'm on in life, especially with all the attacks, the repeated financial wipeouts, and me having to rebuild and get injured as extreme as I did, and then come back from that. I don't know if she just thought that what she was doing with these delusional phone calls and all this harassment was going to completely stop me from getting to the level that I've been at, because I've been at the same level for a long time. I just keep having to rebuild. I don't know if she thought that was just going to be so successful that her false narrative was going to stick with all of these people, and then didn't take into consideration social media coming out and about, or she really thought that that was going to wipe me out, just didn't want to believe I was really truly who I am as a person, and that wasn't going to stop me, because now if you look at everything I've been through and what's gone on, I'm very different. I'm unbreakable. I've lived my life very differently than the rest of the world, living my life in survival mode, walking on eggshells, I've lived 80% of my life in extreme physical pain and suffering, or extreme mental and emotional and spiritual distress. One of those or all of those as a mix at the same time, 80% of my life. And I've still managed to carry out everything I've been doing every step of the way as a self-employed individual. And what it is I'm very compartmentalized, because I had to learn how to compartmentalize each situation in order to continue to make income, with all the destruction and the harassment and everything going on, because it grew to where it was today, where it is today. It didn't just pop up and it's very extreme. It grew over time. But because I was self-employed, I had to make sure that I maintained going to work. So I couldn't mentally or emotionally be set back by any of this. I would literally compartmentalize everything going on so I could still accomplish what I had to in each direction every step of the way. And because of all of that and the decades of that going on and what I all went through growing up as a child when I was a minor before I bought my first house at 18, that makes me unbreakable. There are many situations that I've been through. You're probably looking at me and I've released almost 200 videos and probably thinking why I'm not crying in half of these videos. Well, there's a couple reasons. A, I'm very compartmentalized. B, the way I've had to live my life, the way I've had to carry everything out, and the way I view what is all going on and what's happening in the current is very different than the way a regular person would view it. Plus, it is my actual life. I've been living this nightmare for a very long time, so I'm used to it. And then um, there's just numerous reasons why. The other problem is the brain injuries. With the brain injuries and how much carbon monoxide was loaded in my brain initially, it creates further injury and more pain and suffering if I were to cry. And so at some point during the injury, even though I was in extreme pain and suffering for a long time, and there was screaming matches and there was crying going on, I finally reached a point where I had to learn how to not cry in order to not be in an extreme state of pain and suffering. So on top of all that other stuff I had already learned, then that happened to me. And I had no choice. If I wanted my brain to heal, I couldn't be screaming and yelling and crying. So with how I had to learn how to deal with that, and because of where I am today with all of it and how much brain tissue has healed and what's all gone on and the degree of healing that has physically happened, um, I didn't think I'd ever reach where I am today with it, with how bad it was for so long. And I have a sense of peace, because to stay in that state for that extreme amount of time, for years on end with no relief, not knowing if that's ever going to stop, and then eventually it does, and it was all due to my own merits and my life's work. um, Now I have a sense of peace, and I can't be bothered with a lot of things. A lot of things that would bother most people don't bother me because of everything I've been through pertaining to the injury and then separately pertaining to my mother. But with how all of that happened, and not thinking that the pain was ever going to stop, and where I am with it today, I have a large sense of peace surrounding me, and with how I view things, and with the amount of pain and suffering that is not going on. And so thankful and blessed that that's not going on, because I really didn't think it was ever going to stop, or I thought for sure there would always be extreme amounts of pain or some pain continuously. I really didn't think it could stop. It legitimately went on continuously for 3 solid years before there was one day of relief. And even then, it was still a long road forward to where I am today with it. That is why I am so peaceful, not crying in videos, how I'm able to deliver the information, how I'm able to talk about a lot of this stuff, because a lot of the stuff I'm talking about, people would be in tears, trying to talk about what I'm talking about, all the things that have happened. But because of how I had to go through all of that and learn how to not cry and then be at peace and know that like there's no pain and suffering in the current moment where I'm just in extreme physical pain, and that's not generally, that's not my situation unless I have a lot of exposures or I have a significant exposure. Then yeah, I wouldn't be filming the video, I would be laying down. But it's not like that continuously. And the pain pills do control it now, even though they didn't initially they only took the edge off slightly. Nothing could touch the degree of pain that I was going through physically. And where it is today, it's more under control. So the fact that I have long periods of time where it is under control, and where I'm at with it, that's how I'm able to have as much peace as I do, which is also very bothersome to my mother with all the problems she creates, all the people she's gotten involved. I'm sure she's told all of these people that I'm just this whiny crybaby. Oh, make her fall in love because she'll cry and you'll break her heart and blah, blah, blah. I'm sure that's part of what she's told people. She doesn't know me at all. She doesn't know anything about me. That's not how I operate. I'm sure she's said that to people. And I'll talk about that when I get to that playlist, because there's clues that were left that's what she's said about me. So I will talk about how I know that when I get there to that playlist. But she knows nothing about me, and that's not at all how I operate. So I don't know. My level of peace is very bothersome to her and her group of criminals, her criminal group of officials who've been helping her. My level of peace is very bothersome to the entire group of people. And it's also because they way underestimated me and believed who she said I was as a person. And now that my videos are out and you can clearly tell I'm the exact opposite of who she's been describing, it's very bothersome to them that I'm as peaceful as I am, I'm as successful as I am, I'm as high up on the chain as I am, because they all thought the exact opposite. So the mask is slipping. There's a lot to what I just said. There's a lot of avenues that kind of branch off of what I just said. I am going to come back and do the witchcraft video, because there's been some things going on the past couple of weeks, which I'm pretty sure tie back to that. So I'm going to come back and do more in depth on that on the next video that I do. I don't know if I'm going to do it tonight or if I'm going to do it tomorrow, but that's what I'm going to talk about next. So stay tuned, because the mask will be slipping soon. If you personally know her, you will be seeing the mask slip. And what I do think is going to happen is it may very well slip on the news, possibly. Because when this story blows, it's going to make nationwide news because of the extravagance of everything that's gone on, how serious this matter is, the amount of crimes, the amount of people involved, the storyline behind it. I do believe it's going to be slipping very publicly. I'm just not sure exactly how it's going to go down. And for all I know, it could have already happened. And I do believe it has at least slipped in some of her little friend groups. So we'll see. Stay tuned. If you know her, keep your eyes on her. Watch her. I promise you, you're going to see all this go down. One way or another, it's going to be shown publicly. And she's never going to admit truth, because somebody with her personality disorders, she's going to continue to ride on this false narrative and act like she's done nothing wrong. And she's going to continue to try to do things to take me out and get more and more people involved. She's never going to stop and say, oh, I was wrong. No, like, that's never going to happen. That's not how she operates. She's going to keep it going until the mask fully slips, until somebody at a higher level, like with some type of power or authority to arrest her or put her in a mental ward, until somebody higher than her has the ability to do that. She's going to continue on doing what she's doing. It's not going to stop. That's why I made the last video that I made talking about how they need to be arrested. She needs to be apprehended. It's not going to stop. That's how she operates. She is extremely disordered. Criminally insane is technically the definition of it all. But it's so controlled, she does belong in prison, because she knows what she's doing is wrong, and she's able to control the behavior for decades, which means she belongs in prison. So it is criminal insanity is the bottom line here. Stay tuned. Watch her slip up. I'm telling you, it's coming. If you haven't seen it yet, it is coming. And if you don't know her, stay tuned, because I'm sure you're going to see her on the news. I'll be back with more. Thanks. Bye.